Hello there, Chelsea here, founder and CEO of Healing Embodied and creator of this mini course that you are about to embark on. I'm so excited you're here because if you're here, that means you are wanting to learn, you're wanting to grow, and you're wanting to heal. And I just want to give you a glimmer of hope. I want to give you a glimmer of hope because I want you to know that it's possible to heal from relationship anxiety. It is possible. I've done it. I've helped my clients through it. And I want to lay out for you what it really takes to be able to heal from relationship anxiety instead of it completely taking over your life and sabotaging your relationship. So let's dive in. Let's get started. I'm so excited. Here we go. The science of healing relationship anxiety. I have become a little bit of a neuroscience, brain science geek over the past few years, and I love sharing this information. I think it should be available to everyone. If you have a brain, if you have a nervous system, you need to know the science of what's going on. And I wanted to take that information and apply it specifically to relationship anxiety. The science of relationship anxiety and the science of healing relationship anxiety. So you can understand what's really going on when you experience relationship anxiety and how you can finally begin healing. Okay, let's take a deep breath. Shake out any nerves. I know that if you're at this place, you might be feeling nervous or anxious about what you might learn. Anxiety loves to throw all sorts of worst case scenarios of what you might find out if you try something new and learn something new. So let's just breathe and shake out any nerves. And let's just come into this with a spirit and a mindset of openness and readiness to receive and learn. Okay, let's dive in. So welcome to this mini course. I'm really excited you're here, and you're likely here because you want to stop overthinking everything in your relationship. You want to feel deep love, connection, care for your amazing partner who shows you so much love. You want to be able to be excited about your future together instead of constantly picturing all the worst case scenarios. And you want to stop being stuck in your head when you're just trying to enjoy the moment with your partner. And maybe you're here for another reason, and that's okay too. But take a moment, see which one you identify with. What brought you here? Why did you click this course and download it? What is it that's driving you to want to learn and heal? I created this course so you could have clarity on what it takes to heal relationship anxiety from the inside out. And these are the steps that got me to where I am today. What I'm teaching is from embodied experience, not only my education in counseling and therapy, but my own embodied life experience. This was my journey. Healing doesn't have to be a mystery. It doesn't have to be this thing that we feel like we're stumbling through the dark. We feel like we're lost, like there's no hope. It doesn't have to be this mystery. There's a science to it. There's a science to healing. If you're a human with a brain and a nervous system, and if you're watching this, that means you have a brain and a nervous system, or else you wouldn't be able to watch this. There's a science to what's going on within you, and there's a science to changing it. So have hope. Yes. So I am Chelsea Joy Horton, and the information I'm about to share with you is the culmination of 10 years of education, research, and personal and professional experience. I have a bachelor's in counseling and a master's in dance movement therapy and counseling. I'm also a board certified dance and movement therapist, which means I've done over 3,600 hours of supervised professional clinical work. And the national board has deemed me worthy of the title of board certified dance and movement therapist. So I have facilitated hundreds, if not in the thousands, of sessions with people who experience debilitating anxiety. I have worked in inpatient and outpatient mental health settings. I have walked people through full-blown panic attacks. I have worked with, if you open the DSM and you point to something, I have likely worked with someone experiencing that diagnosis or those symptoms. So what I'm about to teach you is from really deep embodied experience, not only personally in my story, but professionally with so many other amazing, courageous people. So through my experience in mental health facilities, community and private work, I have developed mastery and expertise in holding safe, empathic, and supportive space for those experiencing overwhelming emotion and anxiety, helping clients navigate their own inner world, their thoughts, their feelings, helping clients access their own internal resources, resilience, and strengths, and co-creating powerful shifts and transformation with clients who didn't have success elsewhere. Most of the clients I work with have tried for years other approaches and then come to us and finally experience those shifts they were looking to create. So I want to share my story with relationship anxiety if you're not familiar with it, and just so that you know, like I truly get it. I get the torment of relationship anxiety, and that's like the best word I can use to describe it. It's a torment. It's inner turmoil. It's this battle, this war going on inside of your head that no one on the outside can see. But my relationship anxiety was there on the first date. Relationship anxiety is going to look unique for each person depending on your unique experiences, your unique beliefs, and your unique life story. So this is my unique story with relationship anxiety, and you might find similarities with my story. So my relationship anxiety was there from day one. I was pretty much convinced that it wasn't going to work. My relationship anxiety was this combination of constant what ifs and this just general sense that we're a ticking time bomb. It's just not going to work. It's going to end horribly. He's not right for me. We're not compatible enough. And my relationship anxiety was really present for the first 2 years of our relationship. And the thoughts were so convincing. They are so convincing. The fear is so intense that it made the thoughts feel so real and so true. And it was so overwhelming at times that I even broke up with Matt, my now husband. I broke up with him twice, and I thought about breaking up with him even more times than that. But that was just in the first year of us dating. My mind would just go in loops. I would wake up and think about it. I would go to bed and think about it. I was going through my day, but I was constantly obsessing. I was constantly talking to friends about, well, what about this? And what about this? And what do you think? And I was constantly talking to my therapist, trying to like have my therapist tell me if I should be with this person or not. I was constantly looking for signs from God and feeling like I was doing something wrong, and that the anxiety meant that that was a sign from God, or that it was my intuition or my gut telling me I was doing something wrong. I had become so familiarized with fear that I couldn't tell the difference between the voice of fear and my own desires. This was the healthiest relationship of my life. I felt so seen, so supported, so cared for. He showed up for me in ways that previous partners never did. And yet my anxiety was always focused on if this was right, if he was good enough, if I was just going to end up getting divorced like my parents did. And if I picked the wrong person and married the wrong person, that it was pretty much sealing my fate of divorce and a life of misery. So my mind was just always going there, even though this was such a healthy, worthwhile relationship. My mind couldn't stop searching for all the reasons why it was wrong and why it wasn't going to work out. And it was really, really hard to enjoy the relationship. We did long distance for the first 2 years of our relationship. And it was really hard to enjoy the relationship. Like when we were together, visiting one another, my mind ring, 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 playing these thoughts over and over and over. So it was really hard to just be present when I just so desperately wanted to be able to break free from the constant noise, this the constant noise in my mind. It was really overwhelming. It was the darkest time in my life, mentally and emotionally. And I wasn't sure that there was a way out of it. I thought it was something I would either have to break up with him to escape it, or it was something that I would always just have to live with. And that was a really hard place to be. And yet, oh, what a freaking saint. And yet Matt stayed there as this steady constant through it all, as my mind was doing everything to push him away. He was so just stable. I used to joke that he was like from a different planet, because he was just so stable and secure within himself, while I was constantly in spirals of self-doubt and fear and anxiety and overthinking and questioning and never being able to just live my life. So I'm so grateful. And I know that this isn't the story for everyone, but I'm so grateful that he was there for me. He had every right and every reason to not be there, because I was just constantly pushing him away and telling him how I had so much doubt. And I don't know if I personally would have been able to sit through that. So this is all just coming off the top of my head. It's just making me really appreciate, in hindsight, the amazing support that I had when I was just in the throes of relationship anxiety. And I tried everything. I tried figuring it out. I tried, like I said, talking to my friends, talking to my therapist, praying, looking for signs, just always up here trying to figure it out. And it wasn't until I involved my body in my healing process that things really started to actually change. Everything existed in my mind. All of my attention and all of my energy was on my thoughts and the content of my thoughts, and trying to figure them out or disprove them or use logic against them. But it never seemed to stick. It was like playing whack-a-mole. So this was in 2015, I entered into a dance movement therapy and counseling program, and I learned how to get out of my head and into my body. This was when I entered into my master's program to become a dance movement therapist and counselor. And in this program, they were very, very big on doing the work on yourself first. It was a very experiential, emotional program. And they believe that you can't take your clients somewhere you yourself have not gone within. So it was through this program and through learning how to get out of my head and into my body and applying this to myself, applying this to my fears and my anxieties, that it seriously it changed everything for me. It changed everything for me. And in ways that I was not expecting. And I started this program at the height of my relationship anxiety. And I finished the program with an engagement ring on my finger. This is my engagement ring. It's also my wedding ring. We didn't do the traditional thing. I finished the program with an engagement ring on my finger, preparing to move across the country. We were doing long distance from Chicago to California, moving across the country to live with Matt, my partner, and actually feeling excited about the future and excited about the life that we were going to create together. So like complete 180, my friends. So through my years of training as a dance therapist, working professionally in the field, and personal experience going inward and understanding this for myself, I now have the honor and the privilege of bringing others through the same healing journey that I went through. It's just the coolest thing to watch, and it never gets old, and my heart is like fluttering even as I speak about the work I get to do. So I'm going to be sharing with you the science behind the healing I experienced and the science behind the healing so many of my clients have experienced as well. So let's take a moment to breathe, absorb everything you've heard so far. Maybe you're starting to notice emotion come up, even from hearing my story and seeing parts of your story and my story and feeling that with me. So let's just take a moment to breathe. Okay, let's keep moving. So once you understand what's really going on underneath the surface of the thoughts and the doubts, you'll have clarity on what you need to do moving forward. No more trying things that don't actually help. No more wasting all of this time and emotional energy just spinning in circles like I did for those 2 years. So before we dive into the science, into the learning, let's take a moment to set an intention and a vision for what you want to experience in yourself and in your relationship. So let's just take a moment. We're going to do a little guided visual here. Take a moment, get settled in your seat. Maybe feel your feet on the ground. Look around the room, arrive to the here and now, to this moment, to this space that you're in. Notice your breath. Let yourself slow down and settle in. And if you'd like to, you can close your eyes, or you can just focus on one thing and just listen to my voice. Close your eyes and imagine for just a moment, just a little brief moment, what it would look like and feel like to no longer be trapped in relationship anxiety. Imagine how you might breathe differently, how your muscles might feel if you weren't trapped in the overthinking. Imagine what it would look like and feel like to be able to enjoy your relationship and love your partner wholeheartedly without all the back and forth. How might you breathe differently? How might you hold your posture differently? We really want to use our creative imagination, imagining what it might be like. Maybe you don't know yet, but you can start to imagine. So let's just take 3 deep breaths with this vision that we're creating in this moment. One more breath. What did you feel? What did you see? How are you breathing? Just take note of that, because that's just a little glimpse into what's possible for you, what it can feel like to be free from the tight, incessant grip of relationship anxiety. Carry that with you. Let your body absorb that vision, that hope. Okay. You ready? So in this course, you'll finally learn what really works and how you can have freedom from your relationship anxiety. It is possible. 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 If I can do it, I'm just a normal human. just a normal human with a brain and a nervous system. My clients can do it. You can do it. You're not the exception. I know we like to think that we're all special, but in this case, you ain't special. You can heal. You can heal. You can grow. So let's first map out what is the science behind relationship anxiety? Because relationship anxiety is not just in your mind. It's not just the thoughts. It's not just the overthinking and the doubts. There's so much more to it. And many of us believe that relationship anxiety is just about the intrusive thoughts and the doubts and the rumination. So we believe that if we could just figure out or get rid of the thoughts, to disprove them, to make them stop or make them go away, that we wouldn't be experiencing anxiety about our relationships. If we could just get that one answer, if we could just figure out that one doubt, then I would just be fine. I wouldn't be experiencing relationship anxiety. It's just this thought. It's the thought that's creating, this whole pattern here. Have you thought that before? Many of us do. We live in a very cerebral, cognitive society where all of our focus is about what we're thinking. And while that's important, there is more to us. We're not just a floating head. Are you a floating head? I didn't think so, because you wouldn't have been able to click on this. You need hand, at least one hand or something. You need more than just a head. So we're not just a floating head. We're not just a mind. We are human beings with a mind and a body. So there's so much more going on besides just the thoughts that you're thinking. So when we believe that if we could just figure out the thoughts or make the thoughts go away, this often leads to seeking certainty about our thoughts. All of our attention is on the content of the thoughts. Is my partner right for me? Okay, I've got to figure out if my partner is right for me. Are we compatible enough? Okay, I've got to figure out if we're compatible enough. Let me see. Let me look at this thing. Let me compare to this thing. Is my partner going to leave me? Do they love me enough? Okay, I've got to, analyze and assess their behavior. I've got to analyze and assess how I feel. So in order to seek this certainty and in order to figure out the content of the thoughts, we might Google for answers, right? Read blogs, look at Instagram accounts, whatever it is. We might ask our friends and family what they think. What do you think about my partner? What do you think I should do in this situation? Do you think that, right? We might overthink our way into certainty. If I could just keep thinking about this, if I keep thinking about it more and more, I'm going to stumble upon an answer. I'm going to overthink my way into certainty. If I just keep thinking about it, I'm going to find myself in one corner of my mind that contains the answer that will magically make all of this anxiety dissolve. I've been there. You might confess your doubts to your partner. Oh, babe, I just don't know. I can't. I feel like we're not going to work out. I feel like we're not right for each other. I'm not sure if you really love me. I'm not really sure if I love you. And this creates such a strain on the relationship. And we might do so many other things to try to figure out the thoughts or get certainty around the thoughts. And you might be seeing yourself in some of these things and just begin to reflect for a moment. What is it that I do when I'm trying to figure out the thoughts or make the thoughts go away? Just building that awareness. What is it? What are the things that I'm doing in order to try to seek certainty about my thoughts? But this actually keeps you stuck in the endless loop of thoughts. Don't know what happened to my picture here. Keeps you stuck in the endless loop of thoughts. It just keeps you on the hamster wheel. It pulls you down the rabbit hole. We have lots of animal analogies here, but it just keeps you thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, which creates more anxiety and makes you more disconnected from your partner and from the moment. So only addressing the thoughts is only dealing with the tip of the iceberg. I had a picture of an iceberg here. It's only dealing with just the tip of the iceberg. So we're going to go deeper into this iceberg here. Okay, here's my iceberg. I have the visual for you. So we're going to go deeper into this iceberg here. There's so much more going on here than just the thoughts. So let's understand what else is going on when we experience relationship anxiety from a brain and neuroscience perspective. So here comes my science nerd. I'm putting on my science nerd hat. I'm entering into the science nerd energy. Are you ready? Let's go. So we have the thoughts. Yes, we have our brain. We have our mind. We have the doubts going on in our mind, in the thoughts. And then, so here's our brain, right? And then we have our body here. And in our body, we have our nervous system. So we have this something called bidirectional communication between our thoughts and our nervous system, between the brain and our body. So when you get an anxious thought about your relationship, a doubt, maybe you see something online that triggers a thought, or maybe you have a discussion or a disagreement with your partner and it triggers a thought. Your nervous system is listening. Your nervous system is listening to your brain because, again, they're always communicating. So this anxious thought about your relationship fires a nervous system response. This thought, your brain perceives this thought about your relationship as like a threat. Oh my gosh, something is wrong. Ding, 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 ding. So that thought that says something is wrong is going to send an alarm into your nervous system. And our nervous system can go into either fight or flight, which is usually what we think of when we think of anxiety, that very activated, heart racing, shallow breath, shaky, sweatiness. We'll either go into that or freeze, where we feel completely numb, disconnected, a bit dissociated. So when our thoughts trigger a nervous system response, our nervous system response, when it's in that state of fear, fight or flight or freeze, it's going to communicate back up to the thoughts, hey, I'm still in danger. So we need to think more thoughts that reflect this state that I'm in. So they're always communicating to one another. And the nervous system is going to send signals saying, yes, we're in danger. So then our thoughts are going to say, oh my gosh, if I'm in danger, then I need to keep thinking faster or thinking more, trying to figure this out even more urgently. And sometimes it might not start with a thought. Sometimes it can start with a feeling or a sensation. And sometimes that feeling or sensation in our body and our nervous system can trigger a thought. Maybe you just like walk into a certain area or you hear a certain song that makes you feel a certain way. And all of a sudden you have this thought. And again, this bidirectional communication begins. So this is what creates this loop of anxious feelings in the body and thoughts. And the thoughts create more anxious feelings. And the anxious feelings in the nervous system create more anxious thoughts. You can kind of see how it just snowballs, and the next thing you know, you're feeling full on panicked. You feel so disconnected from your partner and from reality, like you've completely gone somewhere else. So many people who experience relationship anxiety, myself included, feel like we're not ourselves when we are caught in this cycle, in this loop. And when you're in this state of fear, you physiologically can't connect with someone when you're in a constant state of fear. You physiologically, when you're in that fear state, your defenses are up. Can you connect with someone when your walls are up, when your defenses are up? When you're stuck in the loop of anxiety, you're in a fight or flight or freeze in your nervous system. And when you're in that survival state, that fear state, like fight or flight or freeze, you lose access to something called the social engagement system. So the social engagement system is the internal system that allows us to connect, to bond, to feel connected, to communicate, to play, right? It's that feeling of connection. And when you're in fight or flight or freeze, a fear state, you'll lose access to that ability to connect. So when you're feeling anxious, you lose your ability to connect, which makes you more anxious because you're not connected and you think you should be connected. And we make meaning about the fact that we're not connected and we think that something's wrong, but really it's our nervous system. There is a biological response happening in our nervous system. So let's now break down and understand the brain here. So we have different layers of the brain. And I'm going to use Dr. Daniel Siegel's brain model. He does this adorable little hand brain model. So do it with me. Imagine that your fist is your brain. I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger here. So and we're gonna have our thumb inside of our fingers. So our fingers are like this top layer of the brain, right? This orange part here, this is our thinking brain, our rational brain. This part of the brain, the top layer of the brain, the neocortex, is responsible for language, cognition. It's the rational, conscious part of the brain that helps you make logical sense of things. This is the part of the brain we're using when we're learning and trying to figure things out and understand things, when we're talking about things. So that's that part of the brain. And then in the center of the brain, this yellow part here, we have our limbic system. This is the emotional brain. So imagine your thumb is the emotional brain, the limbic system. The limbic brain is responsible for emotion, anxiety, fear, and behavior. This is the non-rational, subconscious part of the brain. And when we are in a state of anxiety and fear, all logic and rational thinking goes out the window, right? We do something called flipping our lid. So if everything's all connected here, when we go into a state of fear and anxiety in our limbic system, we flip our lid, meaning we lose access to our rational thinking brain. And when we go into the fear response, like I said, we lose access to the rational brain. So we're trying to figure out the thoughts. When you're trying to figure out the thoughts when you're in that anxious state, it's a lost cause because you can't even think with your rational brain. So you're thinking with your fear brain. So your thoughts are only going to reflect this very survival-like, catastrophic, black and white way of thinking. It's a lost cause to try to figure out the thoughts when you're in that anxious state. You flip your lid, you lose access. You are all in fear. Logic will not work. Logic does not work when you are in your very primal mammalian state in your nervous system and in your brain. So anxiety and fear are driven by the limbic system, the limbic center of the brain. And you can't access that part of the brain through talking and trying to make sense of your thoughts, okay? We know this, we understand this now, we understand what's going on. So you're missing out on the most important piece if you're not accessing the fear center, right? You're only addressing the tip of the iceberg if you're just trying to figure it out. You're only addressing the tip of the iceberg. You're not actually creating lasting changes in how your brain perceives fear. Let's take a moment. Let's let that integrate, absorb it. I know that was a lot of information. You can always pause it and go back. So when you're in that anxious state and your nervous system is activated in that fear state, trying to figure it out is a lost cause because you're losing access to your rational brain. There's something else that must be done here. So how do you get beneath the surface and heal from relationship anxiety? What do we do then? If figuring things out isn't going to work, if logic isn't going to work, what do we do? How do we actually heal? So as Albert Einstein, he's a pretty smart guy. As Albert Einstein says, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So trying to overthink and ruminate your way out of anxious thoughts is just, it's like a dog chasing their tail. You can't solve a problem from the same level it was created. So we got to go beyond. We have to go beyond the mind, beyond the overthinking, beyond the figuring it out, beyond the content of the thoughts. We've got to go beyond that. We've got to go deeper. It's a whole paradigm shift. So how do we get to the limbic system? How do we get to the emotional brain, the part of the brain that is activated when we're anxious? So here we go. Let's go back to our lovely brain model. We're anxious. We've flipped our lid. Rational thinking is gone. It's a lost cause to try to figure it out at this point. So the limbic system, right, the emotional brain, has an intimate and immediate connection with the nervous system. As we said, they are constantly communicating. So imagine your arm is your nervous system, and the nervous system resides where? in your body. Our brain actually can't feel. I'm gonna say that again. It's gonna blow your mind. Your brain can't feel. Your brain doesn't have feelings, it has thoughts. Your body is the one that carries the feelings, the emotion, which makes the thoughts feel so overwhelming. So 80% of communication happens from the body to the brain, bottom up. And only 20% of communication happens from the brain to the body. So the communication that happens from the body to the brain is stronger. It's more effective to involve your body instead of just trying to change your thoughts and play whack-a-mole and figure it all out and challenge and address the thoughts. Your body is a much stronger communicator than your brain is. Even when you think about communication between you and someone else, most of it that you're picking up on is posture, tone, little facial expressions, right? Most of communication is those things. It's embodied. The words are just part of it. But 80% of communication happens from your body to your brain. So we got to involve the body. It's actually so much more effective than going round and round and round in circles in your mind. I'm just going to save you years. I'm going to save you years and thousands of dollars trying to just figure it all out in your brain. And I'm just going to give you the cheat code here. Use your body. Your body is a much more effective communicator to your brain. Okay? You're welcome. You're welcome. So the science of healing relationship anxiety is changing your nervous system's automatic fear response. If your nervous system keeps responding with fear to these thoughts, and that's what's feeding the cycle, we actually can change how our body and our nervous system is responding. Your nervous system is stuck in this automatic fear pattern. So we got to change that. That's where the healing happens. The fear in the nervous system keeps the anxious thoughts alive. That's what gives them charge. That's why when you get an intrusive thought, it sticks, right? It's the fear response in the body is giving these thoughts charge. It's what makes the thoughts feel so real and so convincing because your body is responding as if you're actually in danger and that you have to do something about it, and you have to do something about it right freaking now, which makes you keep thinking about the thoughts and believing them. You see what's really happening here? This is a crucial thing that you have to understand in order to have deep, lasting healing from relationship anxiety. Your body has so much, stores so much. Your body holds the emotional and energetic response that makes you believe the thoughts. Mic drop. Okay, take a second. Breathe with that. Whew, I might have just like completely turned things on their head for you. So I'll let you marinate with that for a moment while I get a drink of tea. Okay, let's keep moving. So the fear, like we said before, the fear is blocking the connection in the relationship, which a lot of people with relationship anxiety use the lack of connection as evidence that maybe they're in the wrong relationship. So the fear is the fear. The anxiety itself is blocking the connection in the relationship. So in order for you to be able to look deep into your partner's eyes and express your love and feel that bond and that connection, you have to feel safe within. Your nervous system has to be in a state of safety. You've been stuck in a cycle of anxiety, of fear. Automatically, as soon as you get a thought, boom, fight or flight. So you have to rewire this fight or flight response or freeze so that you can finally access your social engagement system. So that system can come back on again so that you can experience the sense of stability and security and connection and bonding in your relationship. Relationship anxiety is a self-feeding cycle, and we stop the cycle when we change the response of the body, not when we change the thoughts. Relationship anxiety will always find a new thought, a new angle. So you could figure out one thought, it's going to find something new. But it's about changing how your body is responding instead of always going into fear. Can you feel safe within? Can you feel safe in relationship? Can you access that ability to connect instead of boom, going into defensiveness and fear and pushing away or clinging, or kind of this like back and forth dance that the fear body causes us to go into? Your nervous system must learn how to feel safe, to love and be vulnerable. Relationships are vulnerable as hell. No matter how you slice it, relationships require vulnerability. They require us to open up our hearts and say, here's my heart. I'm going to share it with you. That's vulnerable. And the fear response puts a wall around that. And if we're not vulnerable, we can't really deeply connect. So you have to learn how to feel safe, to give and receive love. And you must access these nervous system responses through the body. If feeling and emotion and the nervous system is existing in the body, this is how we communicate to the nervous system, to our emotions, through the body. And how do you do this? How do you communicate to your nervous system, to your emotional and energetic body? How do you do this? Through movement. Before we learned to use words, we communicated through movement. Think of a little baby or a little toddler. We emoted through movement. We expressed what was going on through movement, right? So it's through movement, thinking movement as how we communicate with the body, with the emotional body. Boiled down, emotion is just sound, movement, right? Our muscle reactions, and breath, right? If I could say no words and I can express an emotion to you, and you'll be able to pinpoint what emotion I'm expressing. So movement is like the language of the emotional body. It's like the language of the limbic system. So through movement, through moving our body in different and new ways, to create a new response. Movement creates new neural pathways in the brain and the nervous system. There are countless studies on this. Movement creates new neural pathways in the brain and in the nervous system. And when you combine movement, the power of movement, the power of the body, with deep inner work, going inward, understanding what's really going on, what's driving these fears, when you combine these two things, you create a new pattern of relating. You change the automatic reactions and create new ones that allow you to feel safe, open, and free. Creating a new internal neural pattern that allows you to open your heart, connect, love, trust, instead of, right, that if we could embody the automatic fear reaction of relationship anxiety, it's a new pattern, moving our body in a new way, creating a new automatic nervous system pattern. It's powerful, magical stuff. And it's honestly hard for me to explain with words because it is such an experiential, embodied experience. This is an experiential type of healing, meaning it must be felt and experienced on a visceral level. Again, we are going beyond the paradigm of the mind. Like my good friend Albert Einstein said, you can't solve a problem with the same kind of thinking that created it. We got to go beyond. We got to go beyond the mind, the ego, the overthinking, the overanalyzing, the figuring it out, the need for certainty. We got to go beyond that. You have to feel and experience on a visceral level what it's like to feel safe, to open your heart instead of always reacting in fear anytime there's any sort of question about your relationship. Imagine, just imagine how that would change everything. If you could feel fully safe and secure to love, to give and receive love. It's an experiential type of healing. And you can't do this alone. You were never meant to do this alone. You're never meant to heal in isolation. You're not an island. If you could have healed on your own, stuck in your room, figuring it out, it would have worked already. Because if your wounding is relational, your healing must be as well. If your fears are around relationships, then we have to use relationship as the agent of change and healing. Healing happens in community. When, again, we open our heart up and share that, more vulnerable with other people, with a practitioner, with a community of others doing it alongside of you. This is where relational healing happens. And there is support for this. There is support for relationship anxiety. It's not this thing that you have to figure out alone. You're not the only one. There are so many people who experience it and who have gone through this. There is support. You're not doing this alone. Your nervous system is stuck in a pattern of fear. And you need support from those who get it to help you shift out of those patterns and guide you into feeling safe and present in yourself and in your relationship. And this is called co-regulation. When you're activated into a fear response and you can't get your way out of it, we can actually co-regulate with a safe practitioner who can guide you into feeling safe. Our nervous systems are also communicating with one another. So if you're stuck in this state of fear, having a safe practitioner who is embodying safety and regulation will teach your nervous system, will communicate to your nervous system how to get there yourself. Trust me, fear is very stubborn. It's going to kick and scream. So it is just so much more effective and so much faster to have someone alongside of you, guiding you through this process, so that when you're activated into your normal fear response, you're experiencing and learning through that co-regulation how to find self-regulation, right? Because the fear is stubborn. The resistance is real. So it's just so much more effective to be connected with a safe and supportive community, with professionals who can help you through this process. And in the work that we have done with hundreds of clients experiencing relationship anxiety and suffering in silence and in isolation, we safely and gently guide them through the process of tuning into their bodies, into their nervous system, and using movement to change these stubborn fear patterns. We provide the safe guidance and the containment that your nervous system needs in order to co-create these lasting changes. This work, I'm just so proud of it. And I'm always amazed at what it can do for people, and people who have lost hope because they've tried other things and it hasn't worked, and have done this work and have stepped into their power and reclaimed their life and reclaimed their relationships. Again, I'm saying this from embodied experience of going through this process myself and then witnessing other people go through it as well. And because we're communicating directly with the nervous system through the body, remember 80%, you will notice these changes exponentially faster than if you were just addressing your anxious thoughts. We've had so many clients say, I've been in therapy for 5, 10, however many years, and they come and do this work with their body and they're like, I just can't believe it. I can't believe how different this is and how much I'm noticing these changes so much faster. And that's not to say that, it's a quick, easy fix or a pill you take and all of a sudden everything's healed. But it's just science that when we involve our body and our nervous system, things begin to shift more quickly than the grueling years and years and years of trying to figure it out from your mind. So just imagine for yourself for a moment being excited about envisioning your lives together instead of being ready to leave at any moment. Always one foot out the door, looking for the exit route. Imagine being able to intimately connect in the moment with your partner instead of stuck in your head with fearful thoughts. Isn't that what we all want? No more wondering if you should stay or you should go. And this constant, just like split energy, it's exhausting. It's just exhausting. And how much longer do you want to do that dance? It's exhausting. You'll feel safe and confident to fully express your love and have a deep sense of trust in your decision to be with your partner, because you'll no longer be stuck in these unconscious fear patterns that are pulling you away and causing you to close up around love. When you involve your body and your nervous system in your healing process, you begin to change how you respond to the thoughts, to the intrusive thoughts, to the doubts, to what you see online, to what other people say. You change the pattern of fear from the inside out. And guess what? The thoughts lose their power. The thoughts lose their power over your life and your relationship. We can't control what thoughts come into our mind. We can't control what we see or what someone says, but those things, they lose their power. They lose their power. They don't give you the same reaction that they once did. And when those thoughts are no longer running your life, you can take risks, you can be more vulnerable, and step more fully into your life. My whole life and my time and my energy was consumed with the thoughts. And when I went through this process of embodied healing, it just like opened up a whole new life for me. It was like I got a second chance at my relationship and a second chance at my life. I wasn't at the mercy of my anxiety anymore. And this is the science of healing. This is it. This is the science of healing. So just take a breath. Just notice what you're feeling. All feelings are welcome here. Do you feel hope and nerves? Do you feel excitement and terror? That's a good place to be. That's the crossroads of growth. The hope and excitement and the nerves and the resistance. That means you're breaking out. You're about to break out of the comfort zone, out of the old paradigm, and step into something completely new. So just be with whatever feelings are here in this moment. Ooh, give yourself a hug. I'm giving you a virtual hug if you want that. In the work we do at Healing Embodied, you're going to have a deep understanding of the root of the anxiety so that you're not pulled into the fears and the thoughts that keep you disconnected from the one you love. You will learn to tune into your nervous system responses in your body in order to quickly and effectively shift out of fear states into a place of calm and presence. And guess what happens when your nervous system is feeling safe and calm and present? The thoughts lose their power. You're not stuck on the thoughts. They can come and go. It's amazing. So through a combination of movement and verbal processing, talking about what's going on, talking about the pattern and embodying it, you'll be able to expand your nervous system's capacity to experience love, joy, and pleasure in your relationship. You're going to learn how to feel safe to experience the fullness of love and the human experience. And your body will no longer live in this constant state of fight, flight, or freeze. You're going to know how to access that safety, that stability, that sense of security from within. So no more going around in your head for hours thinking, oh my God, is this the right relationship? Do I love them? Do they love me enough? Is this going to work out? It's exhausting. It's exhausting. I know you're exhausted. How can you not be? It's exhausting. And you'll finally be able to enjoy your relationship and have a deeper connection than ever before. Again, we are flipping on that social engagement system that allows you to bond and connect and trust and open up. And I just want to share a few stories from our clients who have done this work. You can take it from me and my experience, but I want you to know there are other people who've also experienced what I've experienced. So before I did this work, I was feeling at my wit's end. I was ready to end my relationship with someone I love just to escape my thoughts. I wanted to be out of the misery or just run away. Now my relationship has taken a huge turn for the better. I know now that it is my choice to be with him. I choose him because I want to. I can finally be excited about the next steps in our lives together and not feel as scared when topics like marriage come up. I feel accepted and loved without inhibitions. An entirely new concept for me. I'm still a work in progress and have my moments, but I no longer feel the urge to leave. I've also learned that the fruits of my relationship are a result of how much work I put into myself and my partner, not because it's meant to be or not meant to be. This work has truly been life-changing for me. It is what I needed. I feel so confident and excited moving forward in my relationship, one that I was ready to leave months ago. You helped me feel empowered, comfortable in my body, and open to love. And about a month after Abigail did our group program, she got engaged to her partner, and they're planning their wedding, and things have truly shifted for her in such a deep way. And she uses the embodiment tools that she learned in this program. She still uses them to this day. They're now a way of life for her. Before this work, I was constantly nitpicking, picking fights, asking him to change aspects of himself so I wouldn't get triggered. I stopped being able to watch romantic movies. I was incapable of having sex without intrusive thoughts taking over and ending up in a crying mess. For years, I struggled with letting go of my trauma and my pain and tried everything I possibly could, but nothing would help. Moving my body and learning more about the body with Healing Embodied helped me in a way I've only dreamt of reaching for years. Honestly, I couldn't be more grateful. Now I accept him for him. I understand that he's flawed, and so am I, but that doesn't necessarily mean he isn't right for me. I started realizing that relationships are built and aren't just found, and they're not the one naturally. You pick someone worth fighting for and teach them all the intricacies of who you are. And if they think you're worth it, they do the same. And I learned how to appreciate the peace and the beauty that is that journey. Oh, so freaking beautiful. So beautiful. Just notice what aspects of your story do you see in Abigail and Farah's stories? Is it giving you a sense of hope that it is possible to move forward in your relationship? So if you'd like to learn how we can support you in creating a deeper self-trust in your decision to be with your partner, freedom from the overwhelming anxiety, a more vibrant connection with yourself and your partner, then I want to invite you to apply to work with us today. We can support you. We can be that safe community. We can show you how to tune into your nervous system and change the pattern from the inside out. In this application, we're assessing fit for one of our highly transformational programs. Again, I am so proud of the work that we do, and the work that I put out into the world is my life's work. This is my life's work. My heart and soul is in everything that I put out. It is my life's work. And if your application is accepted and we believe that we would be an aligned fit to work together, you'll be invited to book a free 30-minute relationship anxiety assessment with a member of the team. And there are 3 purposes for this relationship anxiety assessment. So if you're invited to book an assessment, these are the things that we're going to be going over. So you're going to be gaining serious clarity from a professional on what's driving the relationship anxiety and making it difficult to connect with your loving partner. You're going to learn 3 key steps it would take for you to break free from the tight grip of relationship anxiety and OCD so you can save your relationship and be able to just enjoy your life. And we're going to be assessing which services of ours would best support you in creating this transformation in yourself and in your relationship. And we're going to pair you with a program that's a good match for you on the call, and you can get started with your healing today. So apply to work with us if you're actually ready to make this change, because we're going to ask you to back that claim. If you say you want to make a change, we're going to say, okay, let's do it then. Let's do it. We're here to empower you, to be your cheerleaders, to support you and say, okay, you want to make a change? We are 100% here for that and ready. We're ready to help you create that. So I know deep in my bones that it's possible for you to heal. I've experienced it, and I've witnessed hundreds of others experience it too. Like I said before, you're not the exception. Anxiety loves to keep you in powerlessness and say, well, it's not possible for you. You can't heal. You're going to be stuck in this forever. And there's just, if you try to heal, then all these bad things are going to happen. I know what anxiety is saying. We're good friends. I've gotten to know anxiety really well. It wants you to believe you're the exception because it wants you to stay in powerlessness. But guess what? You have a nervous system. You have a brain. You have a body. And once you know how to work with it, healing is simply a science. So to apply to work with us, go to the link in the email or go to www.healingembodied.com/work with us. Oh my goodness. I am just so excited for you. I'm so excited for what's coming next for you. And I want to just empower you to choose love over fear today. Take the first step in breaking this pattern of fear. Take the leap. Step into self-trust. Breaking the pattern of fear and doubt and disempowerment starts with taking this first step, because I know you're scared. I know you're scared to take the first step. But guess what? Breaking the pattern of fear requires you to face that fear and take the first step to get support. You can't break the pattern of relationship anxiety if you're not willing to actually face your fear of working on it. So I hope you learned a lot from today, and I can't wait to support you further. I am here for you. My team is here for you. I'm ready. I'm ready when you are, okay? I'm here. I'm ready. I'm ready to help you completely change the way you show up for yourself and the way you show up in your relationship. So I'm here. I'm ready. And when you're ready, you know what to do. All right. I am sending you so much love, so much power, so much strength. I know you can do this. Don't buy into fear's crap when it says, you can't do this. No, it's not going to work for you. And what if all these things happen? Fear wants to keep you in the familiar. It wants to keep you in the familiar, even if the familiar feels a lot like suffering. So take that first step. Take the first step. You're not going to regret it. There's nothing scary about healing. That's all the things our mind creates to keep us from actually doing it. Because healing takes risk. It takes stepping into the unfamiliar. So fear is just going to say all the reasons why healing is going to be the worst thing and so scary. But I promise you, being on the other side of this work, it changed my life in all the best ways. And I know it will for you too. So, whoo. I had a lot of energy moving around for that. Oh, yes. So take a deep breath. Whoo, don't choke like I did. But if you do, we're humans. We have a meat suit that does weird things sometimes. So I'm here for you. I'm ready to support you. Just click the link, apply to work with us, or you can head to our website and check out all the amazing things that we offer. Okay. Sending you lots of love. And until next time, I can't wait to see you embrace love wholeheartedly.